Hey guys, what's going on? So I don't have a ton of time, but I got so many questions and so many messages, DMs from you guys about my last video. A lot of people surprised that the government is targeting normal citizens, basically half the country, but really it's the whole country. Don't think even if you're on the left, you're being spied on, and I can show it to you. I can prove it to you. And in simple tests, most people that they've seen it, they've known it, where you've talked about something with your friend, buying a new car, a new widget of some kind, and then you start seeing ads for that. That's your phone picking up on keywords, and we agreed to that on all these social media sites, Google, all these apps on our phones that we just click through those terms and conditions. That's the kind of shit we're agreeing to. But I thought this Big Brother is watching you was fitting. If you've ever read 1984, if you know, you know. So, but I wanted to kind of take us back a little bit. So one of my favorite, old news, back when the news was the news. Do you remember Peter Jennings?
Where the East German authorities have said, in essence, that the Berlin Wall doesn't mean anything anymore. A wall that the East Germans put up in 1961 to keep it...
Now, I just show you that because this is back when, the 6 o'clock news would come on. Your parents would make you hush if you're a boomer like me, I guess. And basically, they'd come on and they'd give you, hey, this is what's happening around the world. Here's, a few good stories. Here's a few bad stories. But there wasn't a lot of opinion pieces. There wasn't an 8-person panel arguing that, democracy was coming to an end, that kind of thing. Peter was one of the best. He's been dead about a little over a decade now. But they just don't do news like that anymore. It's a shame. And, what you see now is more things like this. I thought this was interesting, so bear with me and watch a little bit of this.
Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We're extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about irresponsible, one-sided stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 All right, you guys get it, right? So the question we need to be asking is, there's, thousands of these local news stations, and they're all reading the same script. They're all saying the same thing. And they do that with different things. Somebody's pulling that trigger. And I guarantee it's not a CEO saying, hey, let's go with this narrative. They're being told, just like Twitter was being told, what headlines, what stories could run, what is disinformation. And now we have, fact checkers coming about, and it's the same news site. So BBC this week launched BBC Verify. And basically they admit to having fake accounts, and they're going to fact check themselves, I guess.
Here at the BBC, we are also a new brand, and we are a physical location above the newsroom in London. And the point of the team, as you said, is to verify video, to fact check, to counter disinformation, and to analyse really complex stories so we can get to the truth of what's going on. Why does this matter? Well, mistruths can cause really serious harm to society and to the people in them. And so we want to show you our workings and really help you understand how we get to the bottom of what's happening. And I'm going to give you a bit of a flavour of the kind of work that the team are doing. So we're able to look at maps to geolocate specific situations, stuff that's going on. And this is just a map of central London where we are now. And this is New Broadcasting House, where I'm speaking to you from. And it's not so important perhaps for the centre of London, but it is when we're analysing war zones or what's happening in hard-to-reach places. And there's a story on the BBC website today. It's looking at Russian fortifications on the front lines in Ukraine, and you can read more about it there. And there are other ways that we also are able to interrogate what's going on, including on social media. I have some undercover accounts that I've set up for the BBC's Americast podcast.
Did you hear what she said? She has undercover accounts. So fake accounts where they go and they comment and they monitor. I mean, that's journalism now, I guess.
And we use these kinds of undercover accounts, and these are the characters that the accounts belong to be able to really understand polarisation online and how what's happening on our social media feeds and what we're being recommended and pushed to us can affect all of us. And they don't offer us a totally exhaustive insight into what's going on, but they can help us understand just how social media works. And then there's also investigating other mysteries and the real-world harm they can cause. At the moment, I'm investigating the UK's conspiracy theory movement. I'm trying to understand more about how it's evolved and intensified since the pandemic here in the UK. I'm looking at the alternative media that finds itself at the heart of this movement, and a conspiracy theory newspaper that's part of that as well. I'm looking at the way that alternative media is funded. I'm looking
basically
at its impact on
demonizing
local
alternative
communities.
media is what they're doing. And I think that's important. And basically, again, you got the fact checker, the news site fact checking themselves. What the fuck? That's as bad as, so, and we'll get into it some more. I've got some more stuff to show you. I think, not there. We'll have to cut that shit out. Yeah, here. So, back on Nina. And I'm looking for it here. And if you remember, and I have her up because, you remember 6-8 months ago, she was going to be the disinformation czar. And everybody's like, wait a minute, this crazy lady is crazy. And they dug in, and then she, quote unquote, resigned. And, the Biden admin act like they scrapped the whole project, but they didn't. They just quietly kind of moved it over. And if you don't think this lady's crazy, just...
Wandering is really quite ferocious. It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious by saying them in Congress or a mainstream outlet. So disinformation's origins are slightly less atrocious. It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie. When Rudy Giuliani shared that intel from Ukraine, or when TikTok influencers say COVID can cause pain, they're laundering disinfo, and we really should take note and not support their lies with our wallet, voice, or vote. Oh!
How could you hire? It's almost as bad as hiring that gender fluid furry dude, the bald guy that's been arrested and fired now for stealing everybody's luggage all over the world, stole some famous African designer's luggage and then wore it on stage. And there's pictures and video. The dude's looking at serious time. He's sitting in jail right now, which is, he probably needs to be in a mental hospital instead of jail, but whatever. But these are the type of people that the Biden administration keeps hiring, and just wondering why there's an issue. She's obviously a lunatic progressive. Which, okay, fine, but what the hell, what kind of adult person is making videos like this? It's totally weird. But let me show you the different agencies that sprung up. And keep in mind, this goes back to really 9/11. 9/11 happened, they said, oh, we've got to work together and create better intel and, set up FISA courts and, monitor people and put all this together, and so that gave them basic permission to start spying on anybody connected. So, if I'm, in the same town as a terrorist, shit, I'm free game to have my phone tapped, my, monitored, search history. If you don't think they can get on and look at your computer, unless you're really good at cybersecurity, better than the, hackers that they, have at the CIA and DHS, everywhere else, then they pretty much have access to everything. I always just assume they can see everything I'm doing. I'm not hiding nothing, but, if they have access, they can also, they can do a lot of shit. Let's just say that. But psychos, but, that's not the only one. Let's look at some more. Factcheck.org, they work with Facebook and, they flag stories, all the, if you see something, a little text box on Facebook saying this claim has been fact-checked, it's by these fucking people. And you know who they're funded by? The government. And other non-profits, which is the government. It's always the government, guys. It's always the government. And then here is the State Department talk about disarming, disinfo and shit. And you can read through that. Here's the Intercept talking about the government created a new disinformation office to oversee all the other ones. Because there's several. There's foreign, there's domestic. You can read through these articles. Here's CISA, Cyber Security and Infrastructure Security Agency. And this gets deep. You can just spend a few minutes on this website. It gets really screwed up. Their role is to combat disinformation, And they did graphic novels, man, on disinformation. This shit's aimed at kids. It's just really... I'll just skip ahead so you can see.
All the world have exposed a vast network, manipulating content and pushing American voters
really
to the...
weird shit. And then you get into the K-12 bystander reporting kit, where they're wanting to teach kids how to look for suspicious activity and report each other. It's really, really weird. And they have a whole PDF for it. So this is people reporting on other people. So it just gets really, really weird. Our government is not our friend. They're really, really doing some just heinous stuff, illegal stuff. I don't think they're going to be held accountable. Just remember, we got people like this looking at us and deciding whether we're threats or not. And at the end of the day, I don't know how we fix any of this, but awareness is kind of the first, the first defense. Because a lot of people just don't know. They don't know what they don't know, as old Donald Rumsfeld would say. You don't know what you don't know. It's the unknown unknowns, or the known unknowns. But we have, a whole bunch of people in this country that think people that, hesitated to get the vaccine, didn't want to stay locked down, don't think Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and Kamala Harris are saviors, then we're trash. So, again, just be aware, people. Do your own research. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. But I appreciate all the questions and comments and all the people that shared the last video. The next video will be more organized and have a little more substance to it. But I just wanted to show people that there's a lot of info out there you can just Google and find. Our government's not even hiding it. 10, 15 years ago, there's no way spying on American citizens wouldn't cause an uproar. But half the country now is cheering for it. They wanted monitoring for COVID, all that contact tracing. It was really weird. And, people on the left wanted any unvaccinated person monitored, tracked, isolated, fined, and it's not gonna stop overnight. You can see the infrastructure's been put in place by the Biden administration. And it's being used. That's why, we have people protest at an abortion clinic or at a school, board meeting, and the next day they've got literal FBI agents showing up at their door. You can find the videos. And it's, obviously they don't really have much to charge these people for a crime, but it's pretty intimidating when you exercise the First Amendment and protest, and then you've got federal, officers at your door questioning you, looking at your life. Nobody needs that kind of headache, right? But then you have Antifa and BLM literally on video, attacking and burning a police station in, Seattle and Portland, different places. Those people don't even spend a night in jail. So, it's strange times, folks. And, anyway, sorry I'm a little hoarse, a little raspy, allergies got me. But, like I said, next video will be more organized. I appreciate everybody's support. I hope you all are having a great weekend. Hope you enjoy Memorial Day. Thanks to all the vets and veterans. Thanks to everybody who served. Appreciate it and love y'all.